Okay, man. So, Brandon, really, I appreciate this opportunity you're giving to me, man. Like, it's, I feel very honored, really, because you're from Australia, far away. You're taking from your time. Um, um, Thank you very much for your time. Like, really, man, I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for seeing it as an opportunity, and also like thanks for your interest. So, um, as you know, I don't do things by halves, so it is important when I get to talk to someone. And thanks for being interested in the stories. And we have a global family, don't we, of bodyboarders? So that's a really, really big, important part of my life. And I'm interested in you and your story, and um, what makes your life happen, and all the different bits and pieces. That's who I am. I like finding out about people.
Good, man. Good, man. I feel good, man. Thanks. Um, Man, first first of all, I would like, since we don't know each other anything, just like in any other normal conversation, just have, a few things to know, like where you from, what's your age, what's your current situation, family and stuff, just, so we can start normal.
Yeah, that sounds good. Um, so I I'm 36 years old. I grew up in Australia, in Sydney. Uh, I grew up with a family of parents that stayed together, which was, I suppose, quite rare. Um, they worked hard to stay together and also give us the food and the education and the opportunities to um, do sports, and like basically just tried to give us a good moral compass. We had like I suppose a Catholic influence from my grandparents, both grandparents, um, and then I suppose, as everyone does, that we have a way that we try to navigate the world when we're teenagers. And my story through there is similar to a lot of people, where they have to find who they are outside of their family network. And I was really keen on finding out who I was, I suppose, in the eyes of God and a higher power. So I'd spend a lot of time praying and going to the church on my own and trying to figure that out and find who I was. And so that my personal journey began from there. And I was very also obsessive and dedicated to the things that I believed in, which ultimately caused me to become ill at the later part of my teens. But um, I'm thankful for my upbringing. I lived a very privileged upbringing, and I'm aware of that compared to a lot of people in the world. Like,
So,
yeah,
can I ask you, do you went to a public school or to a private school?
yeah. So I went to, basically it's kind of in the middle. It's a weird uh, thing. I went to a public school in my primary school between the age of 6 and 12, and then I went to what's called a Catholic school, but it was pretty much a public school. It's just sort of, yeah, like it's a weird. It's not a private school, but it's a Catholic school which is funded a little bit through the religion, but also it's mostly just a public school. There was no huge policies around religion or funding that came too heavily from like the religion. It was pretty much halfway between. Yeah.
Okay. So if you were like um just saying um how your family, like how would you consider it, like a medium high class family and or as you know,
Mm,
like just normal,
yeah,
you
yeah,
all grew up in a work hard family that both
yes,
works 40 hours.
yeah, yeah. So that's correct. My dad was a really hard worker. He'd be up at 5 a.m. doing his exercise, and then he'd work sort of 8 hour days, come home, and then mum was spent most of our childhood caring for us, making sure that we got to school and had lunch and things like that. And when we finished school, she started a business with dad, and they worked really hard for the next sort of 15 years. So I suppose you'd call us in Australian standards, well, in kind of like Western privilege standards, I suppose, like middle class. But I'm well aware that that's actually very, very privileged top 10% of the world when you look at the whole world, you know. So
Yes,
yeah,
that's true.
so it's I believe on a global scale that I'm very privileged financially,
Very
and
privileged.
yeah, very, very privileged,
Right.
and I also recognize that with that privilege, like life is not like a um life is not like a zero sum game. Do you know? So some people have different struggles. You know, like a lot of the mental health crises in the top 10% of financial privilege is causing such turmoil and trauma, but they've got everything they ever wanted in terms of money and other things. So it's a weird thing to say that someone suffers and someone else doesn't. I sort of everyone suffers, but basic needs are, yeah, are not a problem for people who grew up like me, but other things
Yeah, like,
become a problem. Yeah,
it is fun because you know you have I'm sure you have been to Indonesia, and I have been to Mexico. I have been I have lived in Mexico for 2 years in Puerto Escondido, and man, is I stay there because it's just happy, you know. I can feel happy, I can feel free, you know, and I'm always like, you know, like to know about this, like, because it's good to people to hear just from normal people like us, like how privileged we are really, you know, like we
yeah,
are we are privileged, you know.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Because
It's like it's almost like privilege is a mindset, because you can have so many things but still want and suffer from addiction and other things, like however, I'm not disregarding like that half of the world is hungry, half of the world don't have clean water and housing, half of the world don't have security so that when they get sick they can go and get cared for a reasonable price or for free. Like I realize that that's not happening, and I want to change that in my life. But so I didn't have to deal with those struggles. However, you know, the human condition is that if we have everything we need, we still find a problem. You know, we still find a mental illness that we wrap ourselves around and destroy our lives. You know, and I think that sort of indicates our human search for uh, a higher purpose. Really, in some ways.
yeah, oh sorry, oh sorry, okay, here we are, sorry. Okay, so when when you start having like this kind of problems, like in your life, that you were like, oh man, like, you know, when does it start, like in your, you know, 15 16, because that's the kind of age that we all have, like, you know, we start like wanting some things. There was that in your life it was at that age?
Yeah, so I remember when I was like 12 and 13 and 14, I started to develop some very serious characteristics of obsessive compulsive disorder. And um, it was something that I would manage, but it was very strange behaviors. So um, I would set a goal of running around the oval 10 times, and I'd run around the oval 10 times and do 20 push-ups after each um, run around these two big football ovals. And then when I finished doing that, this is when I was 13 years old. When I finished doing that, I would do 200 push-ups, um, and like I think no, I'd do 20 push-ups at the each end of each, and then I'd do 50 at the end. So I'm a 13-year-old, like just pushing myself to the limits, and I knew that I would be obsessively going about this, and I'd be very disappointed with myself. And that's the characteristic of obsessive compulsive disorder, that you would be very disappointed or very almost unable not to do it because of this mental schema that you had developed in your head. So those characteristics became part of my life. So that obviously fitness was important to me. And body image, I had really bad understanding about body image. So I thought I was fat when I was 13. I would pull cheese off sandwiches at school when I was 13 because um, I
At
didn't want to have any fat on my body. And I would always compare, because I'm quite a stocky kind of like short, thick kind of build. I would always compare myself to my skinny friends, or friends who didn't have big muscles, and I thought, I had to be like that, and so I had an eating disorder really. And then all these traits started to culminate into different obsessions around different things that were important to me, which is probably helpful to know that that's the nature of obsessive compulsive disorder. That's the nature of that particular illness, where it becomes so it grabs onto the things that are most important to you. So yes, I had those traits start to evolve in my life. However, I'm thankful for my mind and the way it works. It's just taken me a little while to um understand it, and know when to apply those tendencies, and when to forgive myself, and forgive to not.
so so do you think, like, in the early years, in your youth, do you think bodyboarding it will help you, or does it make it in at, like, does it help you at, or does it help you at the beginning, and then at some point it starts again because you start looking for some goals, and you didn't have it, and like it will struggle again? Or do you think it was always, you always like were carrying it while you were doing bodyboard? Does it help?
Yeah, so I think it's pretty amazing, like subculture, isn't it? Like the way that we get to ride waves on our bodyboard, and certainly I applied my own. When you do something, you take your whole body and your mind to do it. So I applied my own traits to bodyboarding. So when I wanted to do something, I would try to do it, really seriously. And, people used to tease me for trying so hard. And I never understood how I could not try so hard, because that's just what my body did. And yeah, so I applied the same characteristics to bodyboarding. But yeah, it it's been definitely a wonderful experience for me to be a bodyboarder. But did it help me? I, d- I think it's pretty unique to be able to go into the ocean and ride waves. All the other activities you can do in life. You can play music, you can do art, you can, all these kind of expressions of the human psyche, of nature, of the universe. Like they're they're all wonderful things to be involved with. And for me, it was about following my brother down at the beach and trying to do 360 spinners with other people, and that was a wonderful pursuit. We had a good community, and um, but to be in the ocean, like it did become an obsession and a job for me too. And I suppose I'm at a point now where I'm looking back on my involvement with the sport and my skill set, and I want to bodyboard because it's wonderful, and to go back into trying to do those maneuvers and stuff, and um, but enjoy how cool it is to have a surf break and go and check it on the right conditions, and try to do a backflip and scoop into barrels, and like that's all wonderful things that I think you take for granted maybe when you're a kid, you know.
How much time were you retired from bodyboarding? Like I just heard in the last in the interview that I just was talking about to you. I just heard that you wanna say to everybody that you were retired, that you don't wanna, you said, oh, I retired, I'm retired,
Yeah.
I'm not. But so how much time do you went really out of the bodyboard is scene?
Um, it was so weird because I went so intensely between um the year 1999 and 2006. In 2007, I went so intensely at it, and I achieved everything I ever wanted to achieve. You know, like covers of Riptide magazines, and made movies, and learnt how to do big backflips, and trying to like scoop barrels and find waves, and I wanted to be that hero. You know, and then also retain a connection to my values, and which kind of brought God and other things into it. So I achieved all those things, and then I don't know what I was thinking, but I just thought, I think what I was looking at all of that I had achieved, and then all the money I had thrown at it. um I'd thrown, like, all of my money. I got married to my beautiful wife in 2006 after I did the road project, where I got the Riptide cover and got cut up, and had come out of the best barrel of my life before hitting the reef, and like all that stuff. And I got married, and we were $20,000 in debt. Um, and I thought, wow, maybe I think it was just I was trying to give myself an element of separation or peace, so that I could go and be married and get a job, and have that part of my life become a little bit more stable. So I just told everyone I'm quitting. I've retired. Um, Probably wasn't the best thing to do, but I didn't know. I think you only know what you only know in that period of time. If I had a mentor that would come beside me and teach me how to handle sponsorship and how to handle my mind and sit and give me therapy, that would have been good at that time. But I just didn't have that. So I told everyone I'm retiring. Um, and I regret that I did that, but um, that's okay, isn't it? We're human. And
And
since then, what, that's 15 years ago, I've dabbled in and out of bodyboarding because I always drawn back to that beautiful connection to scooping barrels and all the friendships and all the interesting things. But more than ever now in 2021, I'm like, I feel really good in on my bodyboard and with my bodyboard with my friends, and going to these breaks that were like magical places when I was a teenager, magical places that we would build in our mind, these surf breaks that we all know, like the ones that we love, even locally here in Australia and overseas. And I think about them now. I had a bit of a dream moment the other day, and I thought, it's almost like a magical land when we go to these breaks. You think about Chopu and Pipeline and Ship Sterns and Canary Islands and all the breaks all around the world, all these beautiful breaks that you dream of when you're a 14-year-old. And some people have Harry Potter, and I love Harry Potter, but like, I think us bodyboarders, like our magic, our Quidditch is like, it's that slab down the road, or it's that wedge beachy that we love, down the bottom, or it's Port Escondido, it's like, it's Pipeline, or it's some Bommy, or it's Chopu. Like, we get to go and experience that magic. And I had that feeling the other day. And I was sort of waking up from a daytime nap, and I felt just this passing moment. I was like, oh, I have a body, and I have these friends all around the world, and I can ride my bodyboard at that location. When I was a kid, I used to live 10 kilometers away from the beach, and I used to dream of surfing these locations, but I was trapped because we went to school or whatever. And I think that's what happened when I finished school. I went and attacked it all, and I'm at that point again now when I want to go and discover these things and discover what my body can do in these waves, and be probably a bit more sensible about it, in terms of, you know I don't want to die, but there's this there's this magic about it.
Do you
um
think you can charge as hard as, you know as at the same level you were doing it back when in your days when you were feeling really good doing it like the whole time? You feel that confident? Because I just saw the photos and it was quite heavy, and my like just not heavy, but yeah, like, are you feeling good and charge it again without any kind of, I'm not in the best shape, or I haven't been bodyboarding like too much?
um so life's a journey, isn't it? Like, we have these disciplines that we develop, exercise disciplines, surfing disciplines and stuff. In terms of discipline, I'm like really disciplined right now. I've had to work out how to work a 50-hour a week or 40-hour a week job, and raise two kids and pay a mortgage, and I'm really fucking disciplined right now. I can do anything really. The only thing is that, so I could definitely get to that point if I wanted to. Um, Another thing worth mentioning, though, is that I don't think it's helpful to compare to a past date, or to compare to a past experience, because if we're just trying to seek the same degree of nostalgia, or the same degree of achievement that is 15 years ago or 20 years ago, I think most likely we're not going to enjoy the experience, because if you don't necessarily go as hard, or get as good a wave, or get as good a shot, or have as much celebration on Instagram, or have as much fame, um don't know if they're the right measures of success. So, um can I go as hard as I used to go? Well, I'd prefer to probably say, all right, what have I got now? What could I do? And can I do some cool things like catch big scoops into, big heavy barrels? And yeah, I could for sure. But I don't really want to compare it, because that will take the joy away from it.
So so are you wishing to go big at Chieftains again, at Topu? And is a really a desire on you to go on those places again, and you just charge as hard as you can?
Um, I'd like to, like, position myself to scoop heavy barrels and things like that, but I don't know if I really want to, like, say that I'm going to do it. I just maybe might want to feel it out. There's other priorities too. I want to make sure. that my wife is happy with the amount of workload she's got with the kids and her work, and I want to make sure that my kids are in the picture and I'm not just taking off every month, to surf waves. And I want to sort of see where our life goes. And if I end up at Shippy scooping barrels, that's great. But I'm certainly not going to like drive myself mad doing it. But if someone said, "Oh, look, I've got $50,000 for you to spend on doing 10 surf trips over the next 3 or 4 years," that would be cool, and I might be able to fit that into the ecosystem, which is my family. But um, I don't know. I love riding waves, and I know that I can catch the heaviest waves in the world and scoop them as good as anyone. So, like, if I get that opportunity, I'll do it. But if I don't, I'll just surf, you know, locally and do some cool carves off the lip and maybe some spinners up into the barrel. I don't know, just whatever.
What's your main peak? Like where you living right now? Where like the best wave you got near? Or because I'm not used to Australia. I got some friends because I know Alex Leon, um, and the photographer, the other one that yeah, but I'm not quite. When they come to here to the Encanto Pro and everything, we make some friendship, some good friendship, and they're cool. There's another photographer, very good photographer. I don't remember his name right now. He's also a judge for the IBA. Good mate too.
Yeah,
There's some friends in Australia, but I'm not related really. Like I cannot position myself. Where are you at right now? Like where do you live?
yeah. So sorry, yeah, I'd like to learn about you and where you live too. I was going to ask that. But yeah, I live. So people call it the South Coast, but it's kind of at the top of the South Coast, a place called Wollongong, and that's about an hour south of Sydney. Um, we just live here because we were sort of attracted to all the beaches and stuff. I remember, like, I studied at Wollongong University, and so did my wife. She grew up an hour south down down the south coast, and I grew up an hour north up in Sydney. So we bought a house here 5 years ago. We've got two kids, and yeah, there's lots of reefs around here. Like we had a session, obviously, like 4 or 5 days ago, where I was shooting photos. Just because it's so crowded, I didn't really want to have to wait because I get so anxious to get the best ones. I want to get the best and the biggest wave, and I don't really want to wait for that. So I decided to shoot photos so I can capture every wave. Um, so
I
maybe
can relate to that.
yeah, I just can't. Like, I hate sitting there. There's 20 guys, and I have to sort of try to paddle around them to try to get the right waves. And I didn't really want to get into that headspace, so I just try to sit right on the shoulder and get this gnarliest photographs, and that's adrenaline too, because it's dangerous to sort of you go over the falls and things like that.
I think
Um,
I think photographers are like everybody in the whole surfacing is like underrated, but photographers what they do is way more underrated,
mm,
because it is I have been a photographer for that's how I began my journey, because at 19 I knew I wanted to be surfing my whole life, so I just tried university and then didn't quite do it, and then I went to a surf school, to a photography school. So
yeah,
I make a little degree there. So I went there to just take photos, and that's why I know it's very difficult to be a photographer. Just placed in the fucking middle of the ocean. You have to catch a lot of big bumps in the head, and then you can score. And it feels really good, man. When you are with your mate, really doing it, and
yeah.
feels good,
It
man.
feels great, eh? I love when the bodyboarders, particularly, they get the wave and like, there's 20 surfers out there, and you've got like a bodyboarder that scoops the heaviest barrel. And there was one of Chris James the other day that he was coming for me. I remember there was a big 6-foot barrel, like proper heavy, like proper, like, you know, like a ton of water going over his head in the barrel, and I was right there with my 20 mil lens going, like, shooting him to the last second, and then we went over falls together, and like I held my camera. I had no leash on my camera because it snapped earlier. And so I was holding my camera under the water, waiting to hit the bottom, and I popped up, and there's Chris James sitting there looking at me, and we're like, whoa, like, and I was like, I got the photo, you know, like, and that was cool experience, you know. But I think
It
next
is,
time,
man.
yeah.
What camera do you have, man? What equipment?
I
What
got,
lens?
yeah, I just got this one here. It's like
The Canon?
the
Yeah.
Canon 7D, and I got the just this one here.
That from? Is that made it from this guy from California? No.
Dave Kelly. I think he's Australian, but I just bought this from Chris Bryan about 10 years ago or 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I just play around with this, and but I want to start bodyboarding more. I want to scoop the heavy barrels, and I got this new board. I'll show you.
Oh yeah, that's a found, right? Yeah. Nice. That's the one new from Mish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I got this new board, and I got some new new gear. I'll show you. It's so cool. I got all these new wetties and stuff. I got like 3 of them. And I've got new flippers, and I feel good, you know, like I want to scoop barrels for
Oh
sure.
man, I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah. When don't you love it when you have like new equipment? It's like
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
best.
And it's cool
Yeah.
because I've been working, you know, I learned a new trade. Like, I'm really good at my job, and I get paid good money, you know. And I bought a house, and I've paid for my kids to have everything they want, you know, all the bikes on the walls, and we have a life, you know, and they can live and feel good. And I said to Mitch, like, he said he could give me some stuff, but I just sent him money because, you know, I don't care, you know. I just, here's some money, and I got all this gear, and it's cool, like, um and I would love to
Good.
scoop some barrels, and get, it'd be good, you know, like, it's a wonderful thing to do. I feel like I'm just starting to reconnect with bodyboarding.
Yeah, once
Yeah,
it is easy, you know, once you got like everything settled,
yeah,
I think it's easy, you know, to go bodyboarding and then really enjoy it because I was scrapping, you know, too much of my life on bodyboarding, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like just doing a bodyboarding and do all the waves and traveling and all
Mm,
that, but always scrapping, you know, like always under the budget, you know, doing it, but not
oh
really
yeah,
like doing it.
yeah, and it's so
So
stressful. And
it's stressful.
yeah, and I don't know, it's like, yeah, I did it too, man, like, for 15 years, just never have any money, always just stressing out about trying to get here and there. And I suppose we could live like that, but um I chose to get married to this woman who I feel like I wanted to I wanted to marry. I felt like it was the right thing to do. And I just felt, I had to go on a journey, um, and I had to put things aside for a little bit. And it's taken me so long to figure out, like, what bodyboarding is for me now. Um, Maybe I'm just
Man,
starting to discover that, you know?
no, I want to ask you this, you know, probably if there were some money on bodyboarding, like really good money, because you are such a good bodyboarder, maybe one of the best ones of Australia. Maybe I'm a good photographer, a really good one. Maybe also maybe a good bodyboarder, but it it's not like it's not it's even that once you make it even on the top level, you're not going anywhere. Why you think we haven't, like, what's happening, why bodyboarders, like, they are not breaking like onto that, top level. Well, and maybe some people say, oh, but these guys have done it, or maybe, but just a few ones. It's not like a whole. We got a bunch of basketball players, and we got a bunch of tennis players that are doing it really good. Why do you think bodyboarding hasn't reached that level, man?
Well, like personally,
That's an opinion,
yeah,
because
no, that's okay. And I think about this often. Um, I actually think the character that we have from being bodyboarders and having to work hard and hustle. I think that character is part of our identity. So I wouldn't change a thing, not one thing. And I think the joy that we experience is part of, is kind of fueled by that struggle. So my little boy is knocking on the door. One sec.
yeah, it's all good, man. Normal.
You up to? You want to get the ball? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Do you want to say hi to my friend quickly? His name's Willie.
Hey, mate. That was quick, yeah.
Yeah, straight in.
Yeah, you said quickly, man. You said say say hi quickly. You said, man.
Show Willie your ball, and then you can head out.
Nice, man. Yeah, that's a good toy, man. I like it.
Like that's
that's the best age.
that's the story, man. Like that's a life there. That's a life. That's a little boy who has a life, and that's why I stopped bodyboarding, because that's a life right there. And for me to chase big waves, I would have to sacrifice that. Like,
I know.
and that's not something I'm gonna do. Like, and so that's why I haven't bodyboarded for 15 years, and I'm cool with that. That's the right thing to do.
Yeah, of course, man. That's the right thing to do, man.
So
yeah.
I mean, I hope that in the next 15, 20 years, I can be scooping really good barrels and having these global family of people. But I'm not going to sacrifice the most important things to do that,
But
yeah.
don't you want it to, like you said, like, and I can feel you with that. Like, we are okay, because I have always said that we have been on struggle because our personalities, the whole personality, and we have personalities, and the bodyboarding, like I said, it's like it got their own spirit, and we just carry that. I don't know how to explain that,
It's true. It's true.
But
I can see a bodyboarder anywhere in the world, and I'm already like their kin. You know what I mean? Like you feel like you can relax, and you can stay at their house, and they can stay at my house, and we can share experiences. We can have conversations. I don't even know you. This is the first time I've ever spoken to you, but we've got something already.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, because we are bodyboarders. We are so, I think, so antisocial. I think bodyboarders are very antisocial guys. Once you go to bodyboarding, I can feel that it's like we all have this kind of antisocial thing, you know,
You
maybe a
mean
little bit
you
more
mean?
than
I
surfers.
think I think the correct interpretation of antisocial, what you're saying is like rebellious, against the grain, like
Yeah,
eccentric. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, little bit more than surfers, I think. We are,
yeah. I
cause,
agree.
cause to you know, you need to have more money to have a surfer, you know, because it's all related, you know, too. Because usually, like here in Puerto Rico, like bodyboarders usually like there's more bodyboarders, and it's because it costs less, you know.
Oh, really? For
So
boards?
than surfing boards, the surfboards, yeah,
Okay.
it costs way less, you know. We are there's way more bodyboarders here than surfers,
Mm.
yeah. But don't if you have the opportunity, like to say, let's everybody have money, you know, let's everybody, all the bodyboarders, let's wouldn't be like way better to all the bodyboarders to have the professionals ones, like really be professionals and really got money to, you know, raise their kids, so you don't have to be thinking between working 40 hours or choosing, you know, on raise your kids, you know.
Yeah,
Can we have both?
I'll answer that question like in 1 minute. Do you mind if I quickly duck to the toilet? I'm busting to go to the toilet. One sec.
Check the battery. All right, nice, man.
Thanks for
So
like I want to thank you for being interested in me. I feel like it's really therapeutic just to talk about these things. Yeah.
it is for me too, man.
So you're in Puerto Rico, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I've never been to Puerto Rico. Whereabouts is it? Let's figure this out. Hang on. Let's figure this out. I'm gonna pull it up.
Haha, you know how to handle all the toys.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm just gonna have a little look.
Yeah. You know we are part of the United States, kind of, right? Or don't you know? We are like a colony, like Tahiti
Really?
is for French.
Oh
We
yeah,
got U.S.
okay.
dollars.
Really?
We got U.S. dollars.
Have
Yeah.
ya?
We got passport. Yeah. We got
Have ya?
U.S. citizens. Yeah. It's right there. Yeah, you have it. Yeah, we are in the Caribbean, which is the Indonesia of the Caribbean. We got really good waves.
And you know that bodyboarder you said was one of the best bodyboarders the other day. Where you said he was from somewhere. Where is he from?
Oh, Jeremy,
Yeah,
Jeremy Lovestock.
yeah. Where
He's
is he?
from he's from Aruba. He's from another island.
Where's
Yeah,
Aruba?
Aruba is way
Oh
south,
yeah, I
man.
can see it.
Way,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
He's a
See,
friend, good friend.
like how amazing is this? Our connection, you know. Like our
Yeah,
connection is crazy. Like look where you are. Look, and then look where I am. Where am I? Like I'm over here.
you're in the other part of the world,
Yeah,
man.
this is where I am. Look, I'll show you
Yeah.
where I live. I live here. So there's a big
Okay.
escarpment. There's a big escarpment that goes over the top of here, right? And I live down here.
Uh huh.
Look, right here.
Okay.
This is my house over here, just over here, right there. And this is our surf break out here. Yeah.
Where?
Just out here. Off.
Okay.
Yeah. I was surfing there the other day. Like we've got, and there's good waves here and all over. Yeah,
Nice, man.
it's
I
cool.
would.
It's
I
really
would love to
cool.
go to Australia one day, man.
You're always welcome, man. Look, we've got a spare bed and everything. Look, can you see it? We just drop it down on the floor.
What's that?
This one here. So you want me to answer the question? What's the question again?
All right. The question is, if you do, like, I'm gonna make it easier. Like, do you think, if we got money, like really good money, like, would it be like the loss of the essence of bodyboarding, or like, if that, do you think that that's why we haven't like really make it, because we are struggling to lose the essence, because because we have seen surfers lost the essence? Because for me, really, like, that's an opinion too, but we can debate on that. But do you think maybe that's why, because we have seen this example of the surfer that they kind of lost the essence, of surfing, maybe a little bit, I don't know, that's an opinion. But do you think it will be better for us to having the money, to really have the good money, or do you think we are good and that it's just, keep it that way, and we're gonna find a way to, survive?
Well, like, do you know what the funny thing is? I've spent the last 7 years of my life learning how to beg, borrow, and steal, and I work for Aboriginal kids and marginalized kids. And I've followed a young leader who's started a not for profit and been able to secure $100 million of funding to to get kids a support, mentoring, and a sense of strength through their education years. And we've done wonderful things, with that $100 million. And so it's all fucking possible, man. If we wanted to make bodyboarding into a great business and really wrangle it into some place where we could actually pay money to good bodyboarders to celebrate people doing big flips and big scoops. We could do that. We could find money and we can make it happen. Just like, you know, setting a vision and doing it. Just like setting a surf trip and doing it. You can do it. People, when we started doing things, surfing heavy waves in 2003, it was just me and Mickey Smith and a few other people just going, okay, we're going to do it. And we did it. So, like, if you want money, you can get it. It's just about deciding to do it. Maybe it starts with this conversation. Um, like, there's too much whinging around. Like, it's not about whether surfers get money or not. It's like, where are we going to find the money? Money's just a thing. We're just going to go and get it. And to answer your question, I think if suddenly bodyboarders were to have money, I think we'd appreciate it. I think it would lose some magic though, because that struggle creates magic. But also, I reckon everything happens for a reason. I'm thankful that I'm a bodyboarder. I'm thankful that I've been punched in the head, in Hawaii. I'm thankful that I've been chased up the beach as a 17-year-old bodyboarder. I'm thankful that the bra boys chased me around and threatened me just because I was a bodyboarder. Um, I'm thankful that I've had to beg, borrow, and steal to try to get shit happening on bodyboard trips. Like, it's fucking fun, man. One surf trip, I was paying $6 in Margaret River Caravan Park a week, staying with my best mates, working at Settlers Tavern between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. and surfing box all day. Like, it's such a hustle and it's so cool. I don't know. Everything happens for a reason, eh? Um,
Yeah,
I look at some of the surfers around that it's sort of, they don't ride 10Ks on their push bike down the road with their board under their arm to go and surf a 3 foot beachy. They don't do that because they're not hungry, like we're hungry. And it's like, it's a mindset. I'm thankful to be a bodyboarder. Like, it's allowed me to relate to other people who have been marginalized, who have been bullied. A lot of the kids that I work with have been marginalized in a much larger sense through racial discrimination, and I can relate to them because I've been teased in the water and ignored in the water, and it's just sad that they're teased and ignored on land for the last 200 years because of some stupid skin color issue. I'm thankful that I now relate to them and I feel the pain of being ignored. um that's rich, man. That's, you don't want to swap that for anything.
yeah, no, yeah, I definitely agree with you that there's some things that money just cannot, give us. And maybe I'm just asking from my own struggle. Maybe I just always have this question, and I just like to share it with bodyboarders because I want to know, what you think, because we relate in some kind
No, it's a
of
good
stuff.
question. I mean, it's a good question because my answer then was fucking fun. Like, I had fun answering that, and I think, like, that's one of the best parts of this interview. You asked a good question and I answered it, and, like, I think it's definitely worth answering and worth asking. If we could have money, we could do cool things with it. What's the coolest thing about bodyboarding? Like, let me ask you, what makes you wanna what makes you
Well,
wanna talk to me, or what makes you want to connect with bodyboarding?
for me, like bodyboarding have become like an obsession. Like it's been like, and now like I just when I well okay, I don't even know why I just um felt like to write to you, like, hey, will you give me like an interview? I don't know. It was just like I just saw the video. Like I have see that video like I don't know, maybe 1,000 times or so much times. I have seen it all over again. And no, the other day I was watching it again just because when I saw a video that I haven't seen for a long time, I want to see if it makes me the same impression. Like if I saw the wave as big as I saw it when I was a young kid. And when I saw a wave, it definitely for me wasn't like it was big, but for me watching it like a few days ago, it wasn't like a monstrous wave, like 40 volt. No, it was like a much still big but much reachable to me, like, and I feel like wow, I have changed, I have grown, like instantly.
Mm.
And I feel like, and then talking at, it was the same. Like for me, when you were talking about the experience, that whole video for me, like I haven't forget it. Like I can choose your video. I saw one image and I can say that's Brenden Newton. Like same as the Inside movies, from Chad Barba. Like
Yeah.
I just can watch it for 1 second and
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
it's that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanna it, when you were talking about Christ, and how calm you were, and I have been at some points in my life that I have been very religious too,
Mm-hmm.
and then at some points like oh man, that's not like,
Mm.
but when I write you, I haven't heard the interview. I heard it after you said you can do the interview for me.
Yeah.
So then I would, and then and I say, hey, let like you said yes, so I said, okay, now I'm gonna investigate more about this guy. So when I talk to him, I
Yeah.
know a little bit more.
Yeah.
So when I heard the interview, it was like, wow, man, now I really want to talk to this guy, like
Yeah. So
because we have,
you heard the podcast that I did the other
yeah,
day where I talked about my whole life with the terrible happy
yeah,
talks. Yeah.
yeah. I heard it all. I heard the whole interview when I was, and it was that point that I said, like, man, I really want to talk with this guy because
Yeah.
we got we got a lot of things in common. Plus, he's reachable. He's reachable because maybe if I want to talk to Ben Player, it will like it would be a little bit way difficult. No, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I always want to connect with people, like, and I love people, like, and also I love attention too, and that's can be um a bad thing or a negative or selfish thing, but people caring to talk to me like that means a lot to me, and I'm learning already. I'm thinking already, man, about like the globe. I'm thinking about your country. I'm thinking about all the different things that we could do, and like, like, I'm fascinated, man. Like, we're on this world, we're on this globe. Like, we've got one globe. I don't know any other globes. um, and
I
we
mean,
we need to like talk to each other and work it out. Why have we got half of the kids in the world hungry? Why have we got a wall being built between your country and America? Like, why is this? What I just think we can do so much with life.
and before you continue, I want to ask you this question because you right now said maybe it's a bad thing to want validation,
Attention,
like
yeah, 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 yeah.
attention. Yeah. So I have I used to have a radio program which you see it,
Yep.
and once I have it, it was like I feel the envy, like I feel the hate of some people, like some of the top guys, like kind of, making jokes and stuff. But and then
Making
you
jokes
said
about
that
what?
about me or anything about like because there's always someone that makes like they feel greater than you because you don't charge 20 foot waves, or maybe I'm very good for some people, like, oh, this guy is very good, but for some people I'm a cook. So at some point
And what they
I
and they tell you that, or
no, you just, yeah, they tell it, you always find out because they make videos or anything, and then a friend of you send it to you, like, kind of, hey man, these guys are making these videos or anything, and you're like, oh man, but it's always like that in Puerto Rico. Once you get like a little bit famous or a little bit on something, they make memes, and it's always like that, with everybody in the world. I don't feel like nowadays I'm like, but that was 5 years ago. But why? That's why I kind of want to stop there because you started the interview with this guy. You started right with there with validation. You know how much we needed, or and now you said attention. You know it is good, or you don't know if it's good or bad. I think I was thinking about a lot when you said that, and I said, man, I think I think good people needs attention. I think we the good people need to step up, you know, and never think of that, you know, and at its attention is a bad thing because if we feel good, like I feel as a good person, then man, I should just good, you know, and just tell people, you know, like how I feel, you know, maybe I don't know, man. Maybe I can help somebody, you know. Maybe it can, you know, change someone's life, you know.
Mm.
I don't know. I was
Those,
thinking
yeah, no, that's
on that.
cool, man. I agree. And I suppose the validation I'm talking about, which can be a little bit negative, is because there is a hero status around my bodyboarding legacy. And some people think, oh, the Charger, Brenden Newton, and they want to talk to me. They want to like hear things and they want to just kind of like see another video or you know, they want to hear that I'm bodyboarding again. And sometimes like that can fuel a part of me which is very fleeting. You know, my ability to sit still with my kids and play with Lego, my ability to
Okay,
my ability to cook dinner, to clean the house, to go for a run,
got
to wake up, they're all like, I'm just
got you.
conscious that this feels much better than those things. Yeah. And I'm
And a
conscious,
little bit,
yeah, and I can't live off this because like the other things are a little bit more real. Um,
yeah. And sometimes a little bit too much of attention can bring you
yeah,
to you know, yo, let's do it, you know, let's go, you know, and forget
and
about what's really
yeah, and I have since 2006 I've said
got you.
let's go a couple of times. Like 2010, I quit uni and I spent all my money and time um, chasing waves again, and that was a little bit in vain. It's hard, man, because the attention is so sexy and so attractive, and it's so tempting, that attention. But it's a nice balance, life's got a way of teaching us, and I'm pretty comfortable with this conversation. um yeah, it's a tricky
Yeah,
balance.
I can feel you, man. Now that you say that, now
Yeah,
you know, tweaks a little bit my mind.
yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah.
It is, man. So, man, Brandon, so these days, you know, like, what's like a normal day for you?
um
Normal.
yeah, so I wake up when my little boy, 3-year-old Rex, he wakes up at about 5:36, and I get a cup of tea. I make him some breakfast, and then I just sit with a cup of tea for a bit until my daughter wakes up. And my daughter wakes up, and we jump in the pram. You see this pram here, over there.
Uh huh.
It's like a double pram, and we run up this big mountain. And I get all sweaty, and I have these big endorphins, and I run all the way up. People think I'm crazy, it's like this steep, and I feel great, all the way to the top of the escarpment, and then I come back down, make a coffee, get the kids ready for daycare, or school, and then I get into my day's work with a coffee and some porridge here, and then
Do you work on the computer, or do you
yeah,
gotta go?
I work on the computer, and I do lots of Zoom meetings like this, um, especially during COVID times, But I recruit for I'll show you. I recruit for this. This is what we do.
I kind of heard, you know, a little bit what you do, but
Yeah.
actually I didn't quite of like I know it was great, you know, but I didn't.
So I try to find people to make change in the world, essentially, and I invite them and have a conversation. I build some trust, and this is what we do.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Imagination TV. We've had an amazing break as we've been working out how we can do our best to organise change around the world, how we can look to build bridges, how we can look to shift the economic models from cash exchanges, which has seen so many people missing out, to seeing how we can exchange knowledge and kindness and support each other in different ways to hopefully build more of a fairer world together. We're looking today at imagination, at mentoring, at building bridges and bringing this group together so we can organise change. And the framework that we're looking to bring together the whole world under is Imagination University. You can head to aimmentoring.com and put in your expressions of interest now. If you're a school student looking to create change, if perhaps you've been outside the margins and you've been in a situation where you feel like the world doesn't see you, well, we see you and we see your worth and your value. And we want to give you a stage to show the world that you're not a problem to be fixed, but you're the solution. So there's plenty of entrepreneurship opportunities for school students from around the world. For university students, you get out and do your apprenticeship in organising change. Obama in his 20s, Jacinta Ardern in her 20s, they went out and they worked on the ground and worked out how to move people, how to hustle them and follow them up to make sure they can move from today to tomorrow so we can actually create tangible change. And this job, as a university student, you get to be an imagination president. You get to get 100 of your friends and go down and mentor 100 high school kids and build that bridge between those that are potentially going to have power in the future and those that are at risk of being left behind. For teachers, you get to bring imagination into the classroom and light up those classrooms so we don't end up with so many kids outside the margins feeling like the mainstream system doesn't see them. Let's flex the model and work within the walls of what's already there and see what we can bring to life. And for executives, you'll have the chance to level the playing field. You get to engage in a project for change for 10 months and let's see what we can do. And hopefully then all of these schools that are sitting there without guides or mentors from outside in the community suddenly have someone knocking on the door and we get to get out of our own little bubbles. And finally, for citizens, you'll have an opportunity to bring about your own project for change. So today we open applications. They'll be open for the next 2.5 months, and then February 1 next year, we'll open Imagination University to go out and build that fairer world that we're working towards. And here's our launch film that we've created for this very special moment.
We know what happened in 2020. So let's imagine 2021.
Let's imagine
what a free and just world looks like. Let's imagine
a university free for all,
with no paywalls to higher order thinking for anyone, anywhere.
Let's imagine
A social network for good.
A bridge for us to come together and redesign the way the world works.
Let's imagine what happens when we tell the kids at the back of the class,
We see you.
There is a generation of kids just like you.
Let's imagine school students, university students,
Teachers, executives, citizens.
coming together to work on a curriculum designed for a future that we hope to build. Now, imagine.
It's happening right here. And you're invited.
Welcome to Imagination University, brought to you by AIM, the Imagination Factory.
Applications are open now.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I just spent the last 6 months recruiting like hundreds of people to come and be a part of that experience, and the byproduct of that is that they'll go and change their communities, make them more fair for marginalized young people, and try to redistribute wealth. Yeah. So,
Wow. Kind of blew my mind. It's like kind of changing the world, man.
yeah, that's what.
It's a big work, but
Yeah, we want to change the world. We want to give people who don't have opportunities. We want to give people that don't have food. We want to get people that run the world, you know, typically white Caucasian men. We want to give power to black women, you know, to change the world, and that's our way of doing it, to try to give people training, and then give them they go out and do projects that they want to do, and we monitor their experience and give them a degree as part of Imagination University. So I'm using my skills to communicate and inspire people to dedicate a year of their life to doing this, and that's what I get paid, you know, almost $100,000 a year to do. So it's
Wow, man.
yeah,
Nice, man.
and I use all the skills I learned from bodyboarding, you know, making the most of what we got, using, you know, using all those skills that I learned through bodyboarding.
Wow, man. I really this has blew my mind, man. Like it is like kind of, I don't know, possible, you know.
It's totally possible, man. I mean, you think when we started to dream of surfing, you know, when we started to dream of surfing slabs, we always thought, you know, do you remember seeing Laird Hamilton on the year 2000 at Chopu toe in? You remember that?
Yeah.
And then you remember seeing 5 years later, Cole Rothman
Where?
or at Chopu, or Manoa Drolic, or all those guys.
Oh yeah.
And on bigger ones, you know.
Yeah.
It, you know, we dreamed of all this. You know, Cyclops, when Chris White first went there, and then I went there 2 years later and surfed 15 Ks out the back of Cyclops and came out of a barrel.
But it was Cyclops, or where was the beach that you broke your? It was
Yeah,
Cyclops or the
yes.
right?
No, Cyclops is in the shore. Okay, so
Okay.
about 500 meters out from the shore, and then if you go 15 Ks out to sea past the horizon, all the way out in the middle of nowhere, that's where I got that wave.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
It's not the right.
Oh. Oh, I thought I was the right, man. I have always believed that.
No, the right is safe compared to where I.
Wow. Sorry, I have a
What I
call.
was saying is, like, is it possible to make the world a fairer place? Well, people didn't say that it was possible to surf Cyclops, you know. People didn't say that it was possible to surf Chopu, you know. Anything's possible. We just got to see it in our mind first, and then do it with the help of our intuition, you know, God.
Yeah, man. That's. I just keep thinking in what you know what we were just talking about before, that, like, how attention, and you said maybe too much attention can, you know, spoil you about what's really important for you, about, you know, your family and, you know, your kids. But what if we can be the difference between, you know, be a really successful person and just that stay at home, you know, that it doesn't have to change the way we are, even if we are really successful, you know, because I know it is a little bit spoiled, you know, a little bit, you know, oh, maybe a lot of money could be, or a lot of attention could reach on, you know, using drugs, or using, you know, or on just going out in a lot of bodyboarding trips, you know, and everything. But what if we can really be the change, you know? Maybe we can really be persons that be successful, and then, you know, be that example that, hey man, we can be really successful, and then we can bodyboard too, and we can do a lot of stuff, but we doesn't have to be like buy a lot of cars like rappers do, and being in a lot of trips. Maybe we can be that example. That's maybe something. That's maybe the plan. On this. On all your journey. Maybe you can be very successful, and then just stay and beat that temptation. Even that is, I know it can be really hard, and you just say it.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can, and I think life has a way of teaching us before that. I've had these really hard life with mental problems for 15 years now, and I have a dream that those problems would teach me the humility to be able to balance, like you said, then to be able to balance what is important and then the success. And if you can do both, man, that is a real hero, you know?
I know. No, man, I wish. Yeah. Right now, I'm just, I'm just trying. I'm in a point in my life that what I'm, I'm not successful. I'm just trying to, oh, you know, make me happy. Make me, I have a family. We just recently separated. Recently separated from my family like 1 year and a half ago. And it was maybe because too much bodyboarding. I couldn't quit. And I was dragging my whole family. And my wife, she is a successful woman. She's very successful woman. She was like for 12 years. She was like, you know, you know, it's difficult, and I was, ah, stick to the dream. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it, and then so now I have the time. It has been a year, and for last one, I said, man, I'm gonna recover my life. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna start with the interviews. Because I knew I have the opportunity because Jeff Howard said yes, and Guillermo Tamega said yes, and that's uh, that was difficult. That was difficult. I has worked hard to all these guys just to because even the people don't want to say it or anything. Hey, what you doing? How who you interview and how, what have you done in your life? I'm talking to to somebody that really it's people don't want to talk. It's the truth, man. People want to it's very difficult to give you that one opportunity, man. So I have it, man. So I have it, and I was 5 years ago. I was doing it, and then it was so many pressure on me, and I just quit, And then now I just said, man, let's do it, man. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pursue my dream, you know. So that's what I'm doing, man. That's what I'm gonna do it, man. So maybe it's just this whole everything has just maybe for this conversation, maybe who knows? Because I have thought so much in here now that has blew my mind. I never thought about anything like the job that you're doing has haven't been even possible, to tell you the truth. People that want to do really the change in the world, like really. I hear what you said in the interview, but I didn't quite. I knew it was quite interesting, but I didn't catch it.
Mm.
Now with this video, now it's a little bit more clear. What you're doing, and it's really something like you know want to change the world.
Do you know where my sleeping bag is?
Your sleeping bag is up there, sweetheart.
Can you get it, please?
Sure. Hey, maybe we can catch up another time, man.
Yeah, man, it's been 1 hour and it's very good.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm sorry. I want to talk more about your life and your country. No, I do. So book in another time with me, and like I've got another work meeting to go to now at 11:30 a.m. here. But book another time with me, okay? And just check the Sydney times.
Nice, man. Nice, man. Thank you very much for your time, bro. Really, really appreciate it, man.
All right. Lots of love to you, mate.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man.